Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Reja. So today we're going to import our tilemaps that we created before to the game engine. This is no tutorial. If you need a tutorial, there's a link that you can visit on the description. This is just me having fun and exploring the unknown with my own self. So if you intrigued what I'm doing, let's proceed, shall we? So we already in Godot. We're going to choose to the node here. And let's change the name. After that, we add tilemap layer. You see the plus button there. If you tap tilemap layer, the node will pop up. Now, after we have tilemap layer, we're going to set our tileset in the inspector on the right tab. After you click the tileset, just click again so it will show you more properties. Now we're going to import our pixel art asset. I create a bunch of stuff there, a different path with different season. So let's place our tileset to the tileset source. So for Autotile work properly, we're going setting the terrain set on the inspector tab. Add element, rename it, and pick the color. Now we're going to paint it. Just make sure when you painting your terrain set and terrain, it must match with setting that you set on inspector tab. Now we're going to make sure on Tilemaps our settings are ready use. Cool. Now I think I'm gonna change the environment on the project setting and change the texture to nearest. Now we're going to add new element and call it cliff. Before we paint, we need to make sure that our terrain set to cliff. But before that, the bottom of the tile have different height, right? All the rest of it has 16 by 16, but the bottom use more than 16. So we're going to merge this into one block. But before that, we deleted extension in the bottom so we can merge it. We just pull the point and it merged nicely. But actually it's not really nice. When we merge the block, there's some issue with the bottom of the block. The origin is shift, so we change it and align it. Great. Now we have our cliff. Let me delete this grass tile for a sec. I changed the layer name and dupe that. I forget that I'm not yet paint my cliff. And the cliff still not so. No worries, just toggle this enable checkbox on the inspector tab. Now we can test our cliff Autotile. Great, let me add water animation real quick. So I bit panic when my water sprite no show up, but anyway, it is there. So we can proceed to the next step. So for animation work, we need to delete the second and the last frame and merge the frame 1. It's similar with our cliff step before. Set the texture origin and hit the animation tab. Sun we have 4 column, we set it 4. I try to change the speed setting here, but I call it off and change the speed on the individual frame instead. Now we add water animation below our cliff terrain. Let's add some grass and modify my layout. Now we add a dirt path. The process is pretty similar with the grass. And if you ask me why do I have different path, the answer is simple. So when I do Autotile, this path can mix with each other. Again, my pattern is not show up, just hit the enable checkbox. Now we layouting the dirt path. Let's add some props and add more trees and such so the surface not too boring to look at. I think if we add some texture it looks more awesome, but that will be in another chapter. And this is my first time creating an asset, we keep it simple at first. Cool, we're almost done. Now let's add character to our environment. We need new node that called animation sprite 2D. The pop-up menu is not show when I record, so let me try from the start. Great, now we're playing on the inspector tab and click on sprite skin. You need to double click the sprite skin so the menu is show up. Now we import our sprite. Let's zoom in, we set the column now. After that, click the sprite and add frame. Cool, our character is ready to set foot in our land. And that's it for today's video. I just want to say thank you so much if you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you're interested in the asset I made, it's already up on my itch.io page. The link is in the description. This is actually my first asset pack, so I would really love your feedback if you decide to use it. I know there's still room to improve. I have a vision to keep expanding it into something bigger, like a farming and adventure world, and maybe even a bot system where you can sell to a new place, kinda like the game Dredge. If you have any requests, idea or feedback, feel free to reach out. My contact info is also in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.